Okay, so the training camps have opened this week, and give us the top storyline for the Buffalo Bills.
Well, it's obviously Josh Allen going into year two and the revamped offense overall and how that impacts Josh Allen. But, the Bills, they went out and had a clear plan from the get-go at the end of last season to address the offense. And boy, did they do that in a big way. They signed 18 unrestricted free agents during that period, essentially. And out of that, I believe if my math is correct, there were 14 of them on the offensive side. I mean, that's a huge investment and number. It was really more about the quantity and not quality. When I say that, I mean the money. Yes, they did pay Mitch Morse to be the highest paid center, but other than that, they gave some guys some decent deals, but they didn't take the Jets approach, which is sign C.J. Mosley, sign Le'Veon Bell, these huge contracts. They really went out and tried to get as many possible guys to come in and create competition.
Sal, what's the sense with the fan base heading into this year? There has to be optimism, right? Because I think there is a lot of faith in Brandon Beane and Sean McDermott and the program they're building there. Is there a ton of optimism? Because to me, I think the Bills potentially, if things go their way, could be a dark horse wildcard team in the AFC.
Yeah, I think anytime you talk about the fan base and what they feel, you're always going to get people on both sides. But for the most part, I think most fans are pretty optimistic for a lot of reasons. I think they saw the good things that Josh Allen did last year, how he was able to really kind of be a much improved quarterback when he came back from injury. Obviously the running, but even, his throwing, it wasn't perfect. He does have some issues accuracy-wise. They want to improve a lot of areas, stuff like that. They see that the plan that Brandon Beane put in place, he's really held true to. Guys, he came in a couple of years ago and said, it's going to take me 2 years to get the salary cap mess cleaned up, and then we're going to be able to do some things and help ourselves. And that's really what they've done here. Then you look at the schedule. As opposed to last year, I think the schedule is lighter. Now, you can never know these things year to year. They do change, but they really don't have, I think, as daunting of a schedule overall as they did a year ago, and that's going to give them some opportunities. Having Miami in the division twice is a team, that looks like they're obviously not going to be very good this year. That could be worth a couple of wins for them. So there's a lot of optimism. People really like the players they brought in. And then I think the final piece is the defense was really, really good last year. And not only are they pretty much returning 10 of 11 starters outside of Kyle Williams, they replaced Kyle Williams with really one of the best defensive players in all of college football. So it should be a really legit defense again.
Sal, when it comes to Josh Allen, and you talked about after his injury, he did scramble a lot, and that really opened up the offense for the Bills. But are they going to try to limit his running? Because we all know that the running quarterback in the NFL, that's a dangerous game to play because the amount of hits they take, because of the injury factor. Do you see Josh Allen running less out of the pocket and maybe making a concerted effort to keep him in the pocket more this season?
Well, I think by the actions of what they did in the offseason, suggest that, right? That, we're going to do our best to protect him better so he doesn't have to run. We're going to do our best to give him weapons so that when he's in the pocket and he can hang longer, that we have some guys to throw to down the field. However, I do not subscribe to the notion of, hey, we just can't have this kid running. He's going to get hurt. Look, I mean, if you do that to Josh Allen, you're essentially neutering one of your best offensive weapons, which is him and his legs. Part of the reason why he ran so much last year, yes, there was scrambling involved. There were plays where they just broke down and needed to take off. There were some design runs involved. But really, a lot of times it was his arm is so powerful and has to be respected so much that defensive backs were just turning their back to him and running and chasing receivers, and that just opened up a whole bunch of real estate in front of them. And I think the Bills would really be negligent if they told Josh Allen, hey, we know you have 15 free yards, don't take it. I don't think they're going to do that at all. I think they're going to tell him, make sure you take it. The trick is be smarter about it. You don't have to be leaping Anthony Barr. You don't have to be taking hits before you go out of bounds, right? I mean, I think it's really more in the way in which he does it, not necessarily the quantity of runs.
Our guest is Sal Capaccio, the Bills beat and sideline reporter, WGR 550 Sports Radio in Buffalo, at Sal Sports on Twitter. And speaking of Josh Allen, look, as you said, it was kind of a frantic year on many levels, right? This guy was crazy runs, the leapfrog, as you described, crazy throws, accuracy was an issue. He can throw it over a mountain pretty much. He's got a rocket arm. But as a guy that was the leading rusher on the team, and again, rushing for not rushing sake doesn't make sense when you're just looking at it from a protectionist standpoint. We know quarterback is the most important position in sports, arguably. But Does this guy have, you've seen him much more than we have. You study the team, you're with the team all the time. Does he have it in him to become that superstar quarterback that is so important in the National Football League?
And his talent is off the charts. It really is. I mean, he is as talented in many ways as anybody that plays the position in the NFL. People want him to be so much more accurate than he is, and we'd all love that. We all love to have Drew Brees back there as far as accuracy. But I'm here to tell you guys, if that's what you expect from Josh Allen, and that is your gauge and your definition about superstar quarterback, as you put it, or some sort of level he needs to get to, then you've already won, and he's going to fail. Like, you can already say, yeah, see, he'll never get there. But Josh Allen is never going to be a 68% completion guy. He's just not. Now, would we love him in Buffalo, and would the Bills love him to be somewhere in the low 60s? Absolutely. I mean, even in the mid-60s, that'd be great, because that's what you're doing in the NFL these days, and you kind of have to do that to be effective and be efficient. But it's really more of a sliding scale with Josh. They did not draft him to be this super high-efficiency, high-percentage quarterback. What they drafted him to be was a guy that could really do things that most other human beings cannot, and that includes with his arm and with his legs. So you're going to have to sacrifice some of those efficient, high-percentage stuff with, boy, oh boy, he made plays that other people simply cannot do. And if he gives you enough of those, which I think the Bills are counting on him being able to do, then I think he can take that next step and be a legit franchise quarterback. But the question is, will he be able to do that and offset the fact that he's not going to be that huge high completion percentage guy? He'll never be that guy. He might have a few games here or there. He might have a season like that, but he's not going to consistently be that. What he's going to be is consistently a guy that gives you the opportunity to make plays from anywhere on the field with his arm or even his legs.
Sal, is Zay Jones maybe the wild card in all of this on the offense? We know they took a high draft pick taking him. He's entering his third year, had a good ending to the year last season. John Brown's there to maybe take some of the attention for those deep routes. Is he kind of the wild card in all of this?
Yeah, he might be. I mean, people forget he had 7 touchdowns last year. He actually was a good receiver in the red zone for him, for this team. And, he had a really tough rookie year, as we all know. He bounced back. He did a much better job last year. Guys, I went back and looked at the snap counts. He was on the field pretty much over 90% of the snaps every single game. In fact, sometimes close to 100%. They love everything he does, from his route running to his blocking, everything. I think if wild card is the question, it might be Robert Foster, because what we saw last year, the last 7 games of the year, when he was 11th in the NFL in receiving yards, when he was top 5, I think top 2 or 3 in yards per reception, average yards per target, all that stuff. Can that translate into a full season in his second year? If it can, Robert Foster is a number 1 wide receiver in the NFL. He has that skill set. If he can do that again, if he can carry that over and be like that for a whole season, they have found their number 1 wide receiver. If he can't, then we're looking at more of maybe a flash in the pan. Can he give you some big plays here and there? And then Zay Jones' role has to be maximized even more. So I think Robert Foster might be the ultimate wild card, but on your point on Zay Jones, I think it's really good because people forget how important he was to the offense and what they believe in him.